Hello and welcome to my channel, The Way What Is True. Remember to like and to subscribe and to comment down below if you feel like doing so, okay? I just want to talk a little bit about dating sites and my experience with dating sites in general, including the last one I was on called Christian Connection, where I found my first ever girlfriend at the age of 34 years of age, by the way. I'm 37 now. I did a video a while back about this. I think it was called Does God Want Me on a Dating Site or something like that. So you might want to go back through my videos and find it. I may leave a link to that video down below in the description box. I'm not sure. I might not. But I just want to get something out of the way first off, and it's this. We have to bear in mind as Christians, we have to bear two things in mind. Now, this is from my own personal life experience. You don't have to agree with me, but this is my take on all this. First and foremost, dating sites are not natural, organic places and ways to meet people. I don't believe that God originally intended for people to meet through Facebook, through dating sites, and so on and so forth, okay? It's a tool. I suppose you can see it as a tool, just like the internet as a whole is a tool. But I just think that God ideally wants people to meet people through friends, through family, in the workplace, through your day-to-day life. Of course, we're living in a day and age right now where even people who do go to work regularly and they do mix, they still struggle to find people, which is why so many men and women end up going on dating sites, because okay, they may mix a bit. Some people mix more than others. In my case, I've always been a loner, so I've mixed very little, if at all, throughout my life, at least compared to the average person, right? But yeah, I mean, people think, well, if I'm on a dating site and I'm mixing at the same time, then I double my chances. The way I always saw it was this: whilst I was still on my dating site, my last one I'm going to talk about, the way I saw it is that it was a lot like doing the national lottery, or they might call it the lotto now, in the sense that you've got to be in it to win it, if that makes sense, right? I didn't really fancy my chances, although I do have my dating site, the one I was on called Christian Connection, to thank for my first ever relationship at the age of 34. It lasted for 6 months, okay? It wasn't meant to be. So I do have that to thank for it. I suppose it was an experience, and I am thankful for the experience, because until then, I genuinely thought I would never find anybody, okay? And now I'm at this stage in life where I'm just leaving it all with God. I think if I stay single for the next 10, 15, 20 years, so be it. Say, Sarah, Sarah, what will be, will be. I'm leaving it all with the Lord God Almighty. And it took me years to fully reach this stage. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience on my Christian Connection dating site. It's a well-known dating site. Some people go on these sites and they can get married within 2 to 3 weeks straight away, just like that. Other people can be on them for years. Maybe if they're lucky, they might get 1 or 2 dates. Some people get dates prolifically. I've always been of the personal opinion that women overall, on the whole, do find it easier than men to get dates, at least to get dates initially, but not necessarily easier than men to find someone who is right for them, especially not for the long term. But as for actually getting a date, I believe women do find it easier than men. Men, it seems, have to push the boat out a little bit more. In fact, some men even resort to lying about themselves, okay, in order to get attention. I never did that. What I wanted to mention at the start of this video, in fact I forget if I have mentioned it, and it's this: we have to remember that these dating sites, at the end of the day, they are businesses. They're there to make money. I don't mean to sound too cynical when I say that, but it's the truth. They make money out of people, and I'm just so glad that I'm saving £25 a month. It was £25-ish. I think it was going to go up in price to almost £30 a month, so I'm glad of the saving. But they are businesses, which when you really think about it, when you get to the core of this, they make money out of people's desire to get married, to have children, to live with somebody else. Most people have sex drives, they have a desire to procreate. That's normal, that's natural, okay? They're making money in some cases out of people's lusts. Yeah, they do. They make money out of people's natural desire to be in a real relationship. Don't forget, there's a difference between love and lust. Love is selfless, giving, it's kind, it's all about the other person, whilst lust is about self-gratification, it's all about what we can get from the other person. Because a lot of men out there have this attitude, they think, oh, even if I can't find anyone to settle down with long term, at least I can get dates and have a bit of fun with a woman from time to time, and that's the attitude a lot of men have, and it's not always because they started off like that. Sometimes they ended up like that, becoming opportunists, so to speak. Even among Christians, we can develop that attitude if we're not careful, because it can be difficult to find the right person to settle down with, to share our lives with, especially when we're not used to living with somebody else. That's very much the case with me. It would take somebody very, very special for me to want to live with them day in, day out. Even then, I think that relationships come in all different shapes and sizes these days. Of course, some people feel a stronger desire to live with somebody else under the same roof than other people. It all depends on what we're used to. Somebody who was married for 10, 15, 20 years previously, for example, will fully expect to live with that person who they find. Some people date each other for 4 or 5 years or whatever without ever living under the same roof. They may spend the night with each other throughout the week and stuff like that, but everybody's different. We all make mistakes. We are all imperfect creatures. And going back to what I was saying earlier on, I'm so glad that I'm off that dating site. It may sound strange as somebody who does not mix much. Because on one hand, I feel like I have reduced my chances of finding somebody, anybody at all, because obviously I'm not on there anymore. But at the same time, I can tell that God didn't want me on there. I can just tell. So I went off. I'm saving money every month. It feels like a big weight has been lifted from my shoulders. And I really do believe from the bottom of my heart that these dating sites were not what God intended. I'm not saying that people can't find people on them because they do. Of course, both men and women have to deal with the usual so-called nutters on there, people who are a bit mentally imbalanced, people who have become embittered and all the rest of it. Dating sites are a jungle. Okay, I'm not saying don't go on them. In fact, I am. I'd say go on a dating site as a last resort. Do you know something? Going on a dating site in pursuit of friendship might be a better idea. Okay, if you're looking for friends and you don't mix much, then perhaps go on there and state that you're looking for friendship. But you know something? Being just friends with a woman can be a little bit tricky. I'm not saying it can't be done, but usually one thing leads to another. But if you're genuinely just after a platonic relationship, then perhaps that's better to go for something like that. It depends what your circumstances are, okay? I was thinking about doing that myself. In fact, on my dating profile, I said, yes, I am after a serious relationship, but I'm also open to friendships because I've had practically no friends all of my life. I did write that. And a number of women said I had a good profile, so I know it was well written. There was nothing bad on there. There was nothing particularly wrong with my dating profile. It's just that there's so many people on these sites, including myself, and they're under a delusion. They think, okay, what the heck? Got nothing to lose. Got to be in it to win it, so to speak. But you know what? It's not all it's cracked up to be. We can get trapped, and this isn't just about dating sites, this is about social media. There's nothing wrong with talking to people who live thousands of miles away, for example, through Facebook. We can build up good online friendships that way. But the world has become so insular. Do you know in Japan, for example, there are people who game online, they're into online gaming, sorry, and they spend more time talking to people online than they do face to face. In fact, most of these online so-called friends, these cyber friends or online friends or whatever you want to call it, they never meet up with each other. And Japan, of course, has a major loneliness epidemic. They have an underpopulation problem. I'm mentioning Japan simply because it's such a fine example of how insular and lonely people have become. Some people love being alone, they are used to it. They adapt their lifestyles around it. Myself, yes, I am very used to my own company. I'm very used to living on my own. Of course, loneliness, depression, stuff like that is something that I've struggled with throughout my life. But the Lord God Almighty has helped me so much recently, to such an extent where I hardly feel lonely anymore. Okay. I used to pine after the flesh. I wanted intercourse. I wanted a lady to have intercourse with on a regular basis, because it's something that I used to think to myself, I've been starved of this, Lord. I'm human. I have desires. I see other people who are married. They're not starved of this, that, or the other. So why should I be? But God disciplines those who he loves. And that's what he's done with me. He's disciplined me. He hasn't just let me have what I want. You know, of course, I could have pushed the boat out and I could have gone on different dating sites. I could have gotten up to no good. Do you know, years ago, when I was younger than I am now, I went on this site that I should not have gone on. It was all about no strings attached fun. I made a profile on there, but I never became a full member. I never chatted to anyone on there. I was literally on there for a day or two. Then I deleted the profile. I thought, no, what am I doing? I know better than this. I shouldn't be on here. You see, these temptations are open to all of us, okay? Some people have higher sex drives than others. That's got a lot to do with this. You see, a lot of the time, it's a lust issue. A lot of people, if they really thought about it, what is the reason they're on that dating site? Myself included. I'm including myself in this. Why are we on this dating site? Is it out of loneliness, a genuine desire to get married? Right? Is it out of lust? Okay, we have to try and be honest about ourselves, and by being honest about ourselves, we can help other people. Okay, because we have to examine the reasons why we are on these sites in the first place. If we have genuine reasons and genuine desires, that's great, but oftentimes we don't. And sometimes it can be out of a mix of love and lust, if that makes sense. We have to be so careful. Don't forget, we are supposed to live in the spirit, not in the flesh. And so many Christians in the church, on dating sites, worldwide, just try and fathom this, just try and imagine this. They are on these sites, they are online, looking for relationships on these dating apps, right? And they are living in the flesh, not in the spirit. They're thinking, what should I type now in order to have intercourse with this woman? And a lot of women are after that too. It's not just men. Men have got such a bad reputation as being users and opportunists, but unfortunately a lot of women are guilty of the same thing. And we just need to lay it all on the line. Tell God about how you feel, your loneliness, depression, your feelings of lust, any kind of sexual immorality you may be guilty of. Lay it all on the line, because we can't hide anything from God. We can fool other people some of the time, but we can never fool God. And let's remind ourselves about how glorious God is, how he died for all of us on that cross, okay? He doesn't want us to be lost in an online jungle. That's what it is. And the world has never been a more lonely place than it is now. In fact, visit my favourite videos off YouTube playlist, that's what it's called, and visit my community page. I've done posts about loneliness and stuff like that, and I've added videos about loneliness and many other topics as well on my favourite videos off YouTube playlist. So I hope and pray that you find something good and useful, something that will help you out there. And I've done videos about loneliness, my own struggles with loneliness. Some of them are a little bit, well, they're not exactly cheerful, but they're not for everybody, those kind of videos. Certain people can relate to them, other people that have struggled with stuff like that. I've also tried to do more light-hearted, more upbeat videos about living alone and how God can use that and stuff, you know. Because when we're single, God can use us better because he has more of our undivided attention, okay? And he certainly doesn't want us to be in a relationship with an unbeliever if we can help it, okay? We have to be so careful. So many Christians make the mistake of getting together with just who they like, who they find physically attractive, who they get on with superficially. Think about the amount of people out there, so many Christian men, so many Christian women have partners that are not Christians, who are not saved, but they're with them anyway. There's so many Christians out there who are in relationships with atheists. I'm not even joking, it's the truth. Agnostics, atheists, Muslims, you name it, right? We have to be careful who we mix with, even who we are friends with, even who we chat to on Facebook. Yeah. The world has never been a more connected place than it is now, okay? But it's never been lonelier, and there's never been a better time to talk to God, to pray to him, to read the Holy Bible. Now, on that note, God bless you, and I'm not going to make this video too long. I hope and pray that you've enjoyed it. God bless you and have a great Christmas. And yes, this will be my last video before Christmas, okay? God bless and amen.